Gardeners talk endlessly about fertilizers, compost recipes, and organic amendments, but few talk about the one thing that determines whether any of it truly works: living soil. Healthy soil isn't just a mixture of dirt and nutrients, it's a breathing, feeding, and self-regulating ecosystem. The tragedy is that most modern soil, even in backyard gardens, is dead. Years of tilling, chemical use, and bare exposure have stripped it of its heartbeat, the microbial life that makes it fertile. But there's an old, forgotten way to tell if your soil is still alive, and it doesn't require a lab test or a microscope. It's a method every seasoned grower once used by hand, sight, and smell to read the soil's condition like a living pulse. You can tell living soil by how it feels, smells, and behaves. The first sign of living soil is texture. Grab a handful from a moist bed, not wet, just slightly damp after watering. A live soil feels soft and crumbly, not gritty or pasty. When pressed, it holds together gently before falling apart. That structure tells you roots can breathe and microbes have built humus aggregates. Dead soil, by contrast, feels tight, sticky, or powdery. It clumps when wet, hardens when dry, and can't hold water evenly. Next, take in the smell. Living soil has an earthy, sweet aroma caused by geosmin, a compound released by actinobacteria. If your soil smells sour, metallic, or not at all, microbial activity has collapsed. The final clue is behavior. Pour a bit of water on bare soil and watch. If it sinks slowly and evenly, microbes and organic matter are doing their job. If it pools, runs off, or forms crusts, your soil is lifeless and hydrophobic. These simple sensory tests, feel, smell, and flow, were once the farmer's primary tools for diagnosing soil health long before soil labs existed. Earthworm presence is the most reliable sign of life beneath the surface. When the topsoil is damp, dig a small section about 1 square foot and count what you find. Living soil should reveal at least 5 to 10 earthworms wriggling near the surface. These creatures are nature's engineers. They feed on decaying matter, aerate compacted zones, and coat soil particles in microbe-rich castings. A bed without worms is a warning that oxygen, organic matter, or moisture is missing. To bring them back, provide food and cover. Mix 2 inches of moist compost into the top 6 inches of soil, then cover the surface with a layer of shredded leaves or straw about 3 inches thick. Water lightly every few days to keep conditions cool and damp. Within 3 to 4 weeks, worms will return, followed by visible microbial bloom, tiny white fungal threads, and soft darker patches that indicate decomposition at work. Soil color reveals how much organic life remains. The color of soil tells you more than most realize. Rich living soil is dark brown to black due to humus, decomposed organic carbon that acts as a sponge for nutrients and water. When soil turns pale gray, dull brown, or reddish hardpan, it's a signal that humus levels have dropped below the living threshold. To revive color and function, start with a carbon feed. Spread a 1-inch layer of aged compost mixed with shredded leaves or partially decomposed mulch at a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 parts carbon material to 1 part compost. Water it thoroughly and leave it undisturbed for 2 weeks. The carbon provides food for fungi, while the compost introduces active microbes. By the time you check again, the surface will darken, soften, and release that distinctive earthy scent, the smell of living soil rebuilding itself. Temperature and moisture patterns also tell the truth about life underground. Living soil regulates its own temperature through microbial respiration and water retention. If your garden beds heat up quickly and dry out within a day, life is missing. Healthy soil, filled with humus and fungi, cools itself naturally and stays moist even under sun exposure. Test this by inserting a thermometer about 4 inches deep on a warm afternoon. Living soil usually stays 2 to 4 degrees Celsius cooler than the air temperature. To help the process along, always maintain surface cover. Apply a 2 to 3 inch mulch layer made from straw, grass clippings, or shredded bark. The mulch insulates the surface, keeps the habitat humid, and feeds bacteria as it breaks down. With time, the mulch merges with the topsoil, forming a dark sponge-like horizon that signals active respiration beneath. To revive dead soil, focus on feeding microbes, not plants. Most gardeners treat soil like a delivery system for plant food, but the real key is to feed the organisms that feed the plants. Microbes and fungi process raw organic matter into soluble nutrients that roots can absorb. Reviving this system requires carbon, moisture, and air in balance. Begin by loosening compacted areas using a garden fork instead of tilling, which destroys structure. Fork the soil to a depth of about 8 inches, lifting gently to create air pockets. Then apply a microbial starter, a mix of 1 part compost, 1 part aged manure, and 2 parts shredded leaves or straw. Wet it until it feels like a wrung-out sponge, not soaked. Cover the area with mulch, then leave it undisturbed for 4 to 6 weeks. Microbes will multiply in the protected zone, breaking down fibers into humus. In heavy clay soils, add a handful of coarse sand per square foot during this step to improve aeration. Fungi are the backbone of living soil and must be encouraged. When gardeners see white threads or web-like patterns under mulch, they often mistake it for mold and disturb it. In truth, that's mycelium, the foundation of living soil. Fungi form partnerships with plant roots, transporting nutrients like phosphorus and zinc in exchange for plant sugars. To accelerate fungal recovery, brew a simple fungal compost tea using 1 cup of forest soil or leaf mold mixed with 5 liters of dechlorinated water, a tablespoon of molasses, and a handful of compost. Stir daily and let it steep for about 3 days, then pour the liquid over your beds. Do this once a week for a month. You'll start to see the soil surface darken, clump softly, and hold moisture better, indicating fungal networks are rebuilding. When soil comes back to life, plants stop struggling. Within 2 months of consistent microbial feeding, aeration, and moisture management, lifeless soil transforms. Roots start penetrating deeper, leaves turn greener, and water retention stabilizes. You'll no longer need as much fertilizer because the soil itself begins to cycle nutrients naturally. The color deepens, the smell sweetens, and each handful feels alive again, the way soil was meant to be. To keep learning how to rebuild soil from the roots, up using practical, no-fuss methods, make sure to subscribe to HydroHaven and share this guide with other growers. Together, gardeners can bring back living soil, 1 bed, 1 handful, 1 season at a time.